The public has the right to hear everything that is being said as long as the mics are activated. And to view all of the exhibits that are presented. Please notify the chairperson, myself, if you are unable to hear or see the proceedings. The board works from a prepared agenda and will take up tonight's items in accordance with that. The first item of the agenda, as always, is the Pledge of Allegiance. So if we could all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Doreen, would you call the roll, please?
Michelle Stevenson? Here. David Bort?
Here.
Kyle Noonan?
Here.
Peter Freilinger?
Here.
And Mike Campbell?
Here.
And so we are missing a couple of members, I think. And so Mike will be elevated to a full voting member.
We don't actually have to do that.
We don't?
No, because you have four.
We have four,
You
okay.
have four. You only have to do it if you don't have a quorum.
Gotcha.
And I think it'd be a little unfair first meeting to.
That's actually, yeah, that's fine. So, we'll, and Mike will ask you to comment as we go along here, but, yeah, as your first meeting, and again, welcome to the board. You can be as much of an observer as anything. We won't put, the onus of the voting member on the first meeting here. Okay, so, the first item on the agenda, the first active item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the January 15th meeting. Did everybody have a chance to review? I'm seeing shaking, or nodding heads, not shaking heads. And do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, David. A second?
I second.
Thank you, Kyle. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Those are approved. I like that. We had two items from from last month's agenda to approve the final approvals. The first was Appeal 2765 for 24 Dresser Road, a home exception, or excuse me, a home occupation special exception. Did everybody have a chance to read the final findings?
Yeah.
And looking at the documents, it looks like that met with what we had agreed to. Do I have a motion for final approval?
So moved.
Thank you, Kyle. Second? Thank you, David. All those in favor? That's approved. And the second one from last month was written appeal 2766, another special exception appeal for the on-site employee housing at 61 Ash Swamp Road. Again, everybody have a chance to read that. Great. Do I have a motion to accept the final findings?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Kyle. All those in favor? Terrific. We will then move on to tonight's active business, a limited recognition of yard sign appeal by David Stahelski. Gotcha. Thank you. I'm glad I got that. At 18 Houghton Road. If you could come up to the podium there and just go over your request for appeal.
Thank you very much for spending your evening with us here. Hopefully, this is a very straightforward request. In fact, as I told Brian, it's a little bit of deja vu all over again. I am requesting as I said, fairly straightforward. Everybody has the
Yes. Yeah,
okay. A straightforward request for essentially 8 feet. In order that I might put a acceptable 1/2 story addition to my garage. That garage, like my home, which is at 18 Houghton, for those who recognize the beach, it is a Higgins Beach house. It was built in 1900. I don't know if it was ever moved, but when it was built, it was, unfortunately, very close to the right-of-ways for the town. In this case, my garage is 4 feet off the right-of-way. So I am seeking an additional 8 feet in that limited reduction. The property itself was at this august body in 2012, where we had a request for the same thing at the house. The house had a porch, roofed foundation, all standing, but it was a request to go from outside space to inside space. For those people who have the site plan, you'll note that the same line, North 86, or it's labeled North 86, and goes across my property, then it was 2 feet away, and I needed 10 feet, and here it's essentially 4 feet away, and that is the basic request going forward. I don't know if it's appropriate, but I can go through the 1 through 4 pieces or respond to questions.
Well, what we usually do at this point is we just have general Q&A with the board.
That's fine.
And then we'll go through the 1 through 4, but we'll first I'll give the board an opportunity to ask general questions. So, yeah,
It's been a few years since I've been here, so by all means, please.
not a problem. I'll open that up. Anyone? I have a quick question. Because we've seen a lot out of Higgins Beach, and I'm sure what's the condition of are you tearing down the garage and that, because we've seen a couple of garages that are in bad shape and that had to be replaced. I'm wondering if this is that case or this is just a grow up sort of thing.
Good question, but I'll direct you to, you have a page of several pictures on it. Mm-hmm. My garage is the bottom picture. This garage, is this, are we on public?
We are, actually.
Okay, then this garage was hit by my wife several years ago. And it required some extensive putting back together again. So you'll see it is in fine condition at this point. It was put back exactly on the same footings. On these, in fact, it was a poured concrete basis to it. Okay. The garage itself was built in a time period that I cannot simply tell you because there's no recognition of it. It was far in advance of 1970. Yes. It had a variety of services in it, including showers, bathrooms, and they said historically the house was owned by some people that had a connection with the Poland Springs, and they had a driver, and the driver utilized this as his area. We updated some things that were inside, but I am looking to take that roof off, come up 3 feet to bring it to give me some stand-up space, and then put a new roof on it at a 1/2 story higher.
No, like I said, and as you can imagine, we've seen a lot from Higgins Beach. Some of these garages have had dirt floors or no foundation whatsoever, and no pilings. And
Yep, I completely understand. Because one of the questions is this on par with other homes and what they've done? I gave 2 examples here, but in fact, I have on my phone, if anybody really wants to see it, but I thought it would bore you to tears, 15 other examples of garages that have been done. You know, if you've seen one, you've seen them all, but they're all basically the same. They go up 1/2 story. They have 2 dormers, 1 dormer. The example here was one that was put up. This house is, I don't know, about 75 yards from my house, down Shell Street.
we don't need 15 examples. I will say, Mr. Stowski,
Please call me David. Your tongue will stick to the top of your mouth, and then we'll have a whole different problem.
We appreciate the visual evidence, and as we talk to a lot of folks, a complete application package with as much detail as possible to help the board understand sort
Absolutely.
of the surroundings, especially in Higgins Beach, which as you know has the character-based requirements for.
Every home is a character at Higgins Beach.
So, any other questions? Okay, that's great. So we'll move into actually now the items 1 through 5 technically on the criteria for the reduction of the yard. So I'll start with, again, we'll read this into the record and then we'll separately discuss it after the fact. But,
Of course.
if you could read it, the existing buildings or structures on the lot for which the limited reduction of yard size is requested were erected prior to July 3rd, 1991, or the lot is a vacant, non-conforming lot of record.
I've already testified that it was built sometime before 1970, the home built in 1900.
Great. The requested reduction is reasonably necessary to permit the owner or occupant of the property to use and enjoy the property in essentially the same manner as other similar properties are utilized in the zoning district.
I think you've had the opportunity already to see some visuals. The garage, as I mentioned, was modified. I'm looking to modify it now. We're a half-story throughout the beach. Please refer to the photographs that I've mentioned. Regarding limited reduction, I received a similar reduction, as I mentioned earlier, for the home itself when we enclosed a screened-in porch in 2018.
Terrific. Number 3, due to the physical features of the lot and/or the location of existing structures on the lot, it would not be practical to construct the proposed expansion, enlargement, or new structure in conformance with the currently applicable yard size requirements.
I've been advised by Brian that there is no more building to be done on this lot at 50 by 100 square feet. There's only one direction I can go.
It is stunning you have as much on the property you have. The impact, number 4, the impacts and effects of the enlargement, expansion, or new building or structure on the existing uses of the neighborhood will not be substantially different from or greater than the impacts and effects of a building or structure which conforms to the yard size requirement.
That is true. The building expansion is within the guidelines, not to polish anybody's belt buckles, but Brian speaks this language. I come from an industry that had multiple languages involved in it, which was hospitals. The way I understand this, we are fully now within all of the aspects of the statutes. The 8-foot line is over property that is in fact my driveway. The next door neighbors have all been verbally, and in some cases send me notes to say that they understand it and have no concerns. The closest neighbors, their letter is in your packet saying that they endorse the project. That's the Darlene Coyle.
We'll note that in a moment, but thank you very much. Last but not least, the applicant has not commenced construction on the, enlargement, expansion, building, or structure for which the limited reduction in yard size is requested. So the Board of Appeals is not considering an after-the-fact application.
Absolutely no work has been done.
Terrific. Okay, with that, I saw the letter from Thomas Wall, if I'm saying that correctly. Any other public comment, Brian?
That was it. We got that one by email.
Okay, gotcha. Then with that, seeing no public to comment otherwise, we will close public commentary. Thank you very much, David. And we will now go and consider the application among the board. Michelle, do you want to start us off on number A?
Yeah.
Or number 1, or is it you number 1? Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Number 1, the existing building or structure on the lot for which the limited reduction of yard size residential is required were erected prior to July 3rd, 1991, or the lot is vacant, non-conforming lot of record. So it's been established that this was an existing structure built before the 70s, and the house itself was built in the 1900s.
Read any other comments, questions from the board on this one? By
That
the way,
one's pretty straightforward, so.
pretty much is, yeah. By the way, just for the benefit of our new member and for the public that may or may not be watching, our policy on this is each one will go in order for the items that are required for the given appeal. So we'll each read through and give it a summary, have a chance to comment as a group, and then we will talk about whether we agree with the finding. So, any further comments? Obviously, I don't think so. Do we agree with the reading from Michelle? So how do we vote on this item? We vote yes. Thank you very much. David?
All right. The requested reduction is reasonably necessary to permit the owner or occupant of the property to use and enjoy the property in essentially the same manner as other similar properties utilized in this zoning district. Since this is Higgins Beach, the very specific requirements and, first of all, it has to be a 1.5 total stories high, and the pitch of the roof, the existing pitch actually is too flat. The new pitch that is proposed here would actually come into compliance with the Higgins Beach standards. And the applicant has reasonably shown that other properties nearby are similar to what he is proposing and, again, fall within the Higgins Beach standards.
Any comments or any thoughts from us? Okay. Could I see, by a show of hands, could I see, do we agree with the Ms. Bork's analysis? We do. Moving on to number 3.
Okay, so this requires the applicant to show that due to the physical features of the lot and/or the location of existing structures on the lot, it would not be practical to construct the proposed expansion, enlargement, or new structure in conformance with the currently applicable yard size requirements. I think that the applicant has shown that this requirement is satisfied because the lot is small and it's already largely taken up by structures, and this actually doesn't change the footprint of the existing structures at all. So I think we can find that this requirement is met.
Any further comments? Nope. Okay, by show of hands, do we agree with Mr. Noonan's analysis? We do. The fourth asked is the impacts and effects of the enlargement, expansion, or new building or structure on existing uses in the neighborhood will not be substantially different from or greater than the impacts and effects of a building or structure which conforms to the yard size requirements. I think we can safely agree with the finding or the statement from the applicant here. We've dealt, as noted, with Higgins Beach properties substantially in the past. Most have some some non-conformance with the existing setback requirements simply due to the age of the neighborhood. And I agree with Kyle. This is one of those areas where it's interesting that a variance is required for reduction of yard size because we're really just expanding the height of the building. We're not changing the footprint or reducing or changing the yard size. So I think the statement here is adequate, and we can agree with the appellant's assertion. So, any questions? Any thoughts? Okay. By show of hands, is my analysis sufficient for this item? It is. And then the last one, we'll give this one to our newest member. If you could read number 5 and then determine whether you believe that the number 5 has been met.
So the applicant has not commenced construction of the enlargement, expansion, building or structure for which the limited reduction in yard is requested, so that the Board of Appeals is not considering an after-the-fact application. I think I'm satisfied. Are you satisfied?
That's actually the appropriate one to ask the code enforcement officers. He would
I
be able to say.
have kept Mr. Stahelski so busy trying to understand the ins and outs of this ordinance in this application that he has not had time to start construction, even if he wanted to. So, yeah,
There has been no swing of the
verify
hammer.
that no construction has started.
And that is actually on, there's a couple of these, for example, you will find on other appeals that look for, is it in a wetland zone and things like that, which really we would look to staff, the code enforcement officer, to tell us, is it in the zone, or in this case, has he started construction? And so we can say no. So, any other questions on that one? By show of hands, do we agree with the analysis? We do. That is unanimous. With nothing else to say, can I have a motion for finding on this appeal?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Michelle. We will, and if we can call the roll for the approval of appeal. No. 2766. 2767? Was it, or 2767? 2760. Could I have call the roll to approve the appeal 2767?
Michelle Stevenson,
Yes.
David Bork,
Yes.
Kyle Noonan,
Yes.
and Peter Freilinger.
Yes, that is approved unanimously. Thank you very much, David.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it.
Ladies, have a safe drive home.
Yeah, exactly. Stay safe tomorrow. Any comments? I believe, no.
If you want me, just to remind the board really quickly, you've already voted, so your decision is good and everything's good. I just want to explain, probably for the benefit of Michael, and maybe just to refresh your memories, in David's case, he's a corner lot, and so there's a primary frontage and a secondary frontage. And the secondary frontage is minimum 12 feet. That's why he was asking for an 8-foot reduction for 4 feet.
Yeah.
The existing structure. And to your point, an expansion in height of that structure is an expansion of a non-conforming structure, and that's why we try to guide them into whatever appeal is appropriate for the type of relief that they have.
Understood. Yeah.
I'm just kind of restating the obvious for you.
And it's a good one, because the corner lot issue will come up in other neighborhoods which are different than Higgins Beach. Higgins Beach, everything is non-conforming. I mean, everything, you mow your lawn a second time in a day, you have to get a variance for it. So, but in other neighborhoods, in other neighborhoods, the corner lot can be a more meaningful distinction, where you have to determine what is the primary versus the secondary street. And there may be neighbors on either street who take a view one way or the other because of what the determination of the primary or secondary street is. Higgins Beach, everything's different in Higgins Beach. So, but in any event, thank you, Brian, that was helpful. Beyond that, the only comment I'd say is there's the MMA, Maine Municipal Association training class, which very highly recommended to do. Doreen can help you register for that. They do it every couple months, every quarter or so.
I looked ahead, and unfortunately, the next one isn't actually in person, and it's in Presque Isle, so you probably don't want to travel all the way to Presque Isle.
Yeah, we're not going to ask you to travel to Presque Isle.
There are 3 virtual ones, though, in the fall, so
Okay. Yeah,
we'll
so-
keep you appraised of those as
Okay.
they get closer.
They're very helpful, and as I've been reminded in the past, even every few, if you stay on the board for additional sessions, every few years it's good to do a refresher because they cover different topics.
That's the point.
Yep, so great. And with that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I have one other reminder. I was hoping you'd bring this up. And really, I'll just direct this to you, Mr. Chair. There's a SEDCO, I believe. It's a meeting of all
Yes.
committees and so forth, and boards.
Yes.
And I'd like to know who's representing. Last year, I was there to represent our board. I'd like to know if anybody else has volunteered to do that.
I will be there tomorrow night. I've been, I'm also there for the Long Range Planning Committee, so I'm representing for both of us. So, but I will be there. Yes. Okay. Anything else? We had a motion. From I'll give it to Kyle for adjournment, and a second from David. And all those in favor? So adjourned. Thank you very much. That is 24 minutes. Yeah. Might be in the record. Might be.